Mav, Rachel, Simcha bat Nahid, Yael bat Loren, Esther Shoshana, and for Hatzlacha of Arvin, Netanel, Ben Sonia, that should Bezrat Hashem have Yeshuot. Amen. So we have basically still in the middle of the sugya that we started with, different kitei edim, different groups of witnesses that come to the Betin, contradicting each other. So says the Gemara, if we have a group that comes and says, we witnessed that on Sunday, Reuben killed someone. Okay. Or the second group comes and says, well, you could not have seen this on Sunday because on Sunday you were with us. On Sunday you were with us. Now they themselves say, well, we're not disagreeing that Reuben killed Shimon. We actually are testimony to the fact that Reuben killed Shimon. We saw it. We saw that Reuben killed Shimon. You could not have seen it because you Sunday were with us in a different place. We saw Reuben kill Shimon on Monday. So they're not disagreeing, the two groups of Edim. It's not that they are colliding in their actual Edut that Reuben killed Shimon, but rather they are just disagreeing when it happened, and the second group says that the first group could not have seen the murder because they were in a different place with them. So it says the Gemara, even if their testimony chronologically preceded the testimony, the alleged testimony of the first group. In other words, the first group says, we saw this happen on Sunday. Second group says, no, Sunday you were with us. It actually happened on Friday. It happened on Friday. So what's the difference, by the way? The difference is that at the time that they claim it had happened, the first one, already the guy was dead, right? So you're not trying to get somebody killed because he already had killed. So says the Gemara, both of those scenarios, you know what we do with the first group of Edim? We kill them. Even though that there's no doubt in the fact that Reuben killed Shimon. Everybody agrees that Reuben killed Shimon. But because the first one are Edim Zomemim, and this Reuben guy that killed Shimon, this Reuben has not had a psak din on him yet, we still kill the first group of Edim because they are still considered classic Edim Zomemim. Now here it's going to be in contrast with what the Gemara is going to say right now, so the whole thing makes a whole lot more sense. Says the Gemara, because the moment that the first group of witnesses, they gave their testimony, was Reuben a bar ktala? Was Reuben chayav mita? No, the Betin has not paskined anything on him yet. He's a regular guy walking the streets, and therefore you try to get him killed, we kill you. Even though that the din that you said is correct, we agree that Reuben, but you did not witness it. You falsified your edut, and therefore you get killed. So I said, wait a second. My kamash malan, Tanina. What's the chidush over here? We learned this in the Mishnah, right? By the way, we all know when it's a Mishnah, when it's a Braita, right? There's Aramaic words. Tanina, every time that you have two noons is a Mishnah. Tanan, there's two noons in it, right? That's a Mishnah. Tanina is Mishnah, right? Tanya would be a Braita, right? Tanu Rabbanan is just, they learned in the Bet Midrash, but Tanina is a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah. Immediately after this in Daf Vav, we're going to have this Mishnah. The Mishnah is talking about the case. Let me just give a little preface. There are four people that allegedly witnessed a murder. So they are in the same place. Now, the halacha is, in order for people to be in one group of witnesses, they have to be able to see each other also. they're one group together, right? So imagine two people are seeing it from one angle, and two other people are seeing it from a different angle. They don't see each other, the four people. The two are not seeing each other. So what's the halacha? The two groups of edim, they both come to the bedin, and they say, well, we saw at 4 o'clock p.m., Sunday evening, Reuben killed Shimon, right? And everything checks, right? So you have four people who are testifying on the exact same scenario. They saw it from two different angles. Then two edim come and say, well, we don't know about these two guys, but those two guys were with us. Right? You hear what's happening? So they could not have seen Reuben killing Shimon because they were with us in Miami. They could not have seen it. Now what happens to the Edut? What happens to the Edut? Well, they're not disagreeing that Reuben could have killed Shimon. Well, maybe Reuben did kill Shimon, but these two guys could not have seen it because they were with us. Right? So you know what the halacha is? The halacha is we still kill Reuben because we believe the second guys that Reuben killed Shimon. But we also kill the first group of edim because they're edim zomemim at the end of the day. Right? So that's the halacha that Mishnah over there is discussing. So let's read it together. Lefichach, says the Mishnah, Nimtzet achat mehen zomemet, if one of the two groups of edim that they allegedly saw this murder at the same time from different angles, one of them became zomemim, hu vehen neragin, Reuben, who actually killed Shimon, right? And those two first guys, all three of them are going to be killed. Of course, the second group is patur, right? So what are we saying over here? We're saying in this Mishnah clearly, right, the din that we just learned in the Braita, that even though that we know, we the Bedin, the Dayanim, we know that Reuben killed Shimon. We're going to kill Reuben. And yet, when we are falsified testimony against him, that we could disprove that these guys were not there because they're Adim Zeomim, we kill Reuben, but we kill also them, right? So what's your chidush over here? You're telling me that if we know that Reuben killed Shimon, we still kill Edim Zomemim about him as well. So that's a Mishnah. You don't need a Gemara to tell me that. It's a black on white Mishnah, beferush. So says the Gemara, no, Sefa, the end of this is the Chidush. What's the end of the Braita? Masechet Makkot istrichale. The Chidush is when the Bedin had already passed in on this person. Now, the first case was that the Edim come and say, well, this guy Reuben killed Shimon. And the second group come and say, well, you could not have been with us. Well, we could not have been witnessing it because you were with us on Sunday, right? But you know what happened? We saw the murder, actually, and it happened on Friday, right? That's the first case. And we mentioned that in this case, you kill the first group of Edim, right? But what if the second group of Edim say, the first group of Edim come and say, Reuben killed Shimon on Sunday, killed him, and he stood trial, whatever it is. And the second group can say, no, Sunday you were with us, but you know what happened? Last Thursday, Reuben killed Shimon, and he stood trial, and he became chayav mita. He had a bedin case, the Dayanim paskin, he's kaput, he's chayav mita. What happens now? Turns out, what happens now? Turns out that when the first lawyers, right, the first group of Edim, testified against Reuben, what was the halacha of Reuben at that moment in time? He was chayav mita. Not just in the eyes of Hashem, because Hashem knows Reuben killed Shimon, but because it was a psak on him. Reuben had a psak on him, so he is a walking dead meat. That's what it is. You know what the halacha is? If somebody has a psak of death penalty, he became gamar din, chayab mita. If you go shoot him, you kill him, what happens? Are you chayab mita? You're not chayab mita, right? Because he's a dead, walking dead, right? So therefore, even though that the first group of edim lied, and they were found to be liars of edim zomemim, because they could not have seen Reuben kill Shimon on Sunday, because Sunday they were with the other edim, but because we know that by the time that they testified about Reuben was already hayab mita, we know that from the second group's testimony, we don't kill the first group of edim. That's the chidush. So let's read in the Gemara. Two people come and say, well, on Sunday, Reuben stood trial and he became chayab mita. That's what they testify. And two other guys come say, well, you could not have been in the Betin and seen this because, in Los Angeles, because on Sunday you were with us in Spain. We were there at the trial, and it was not on Sunday, it was Erev Shabbat. נגמר דינו של פלוני, ולא עוד, אלא אפילו אמרו בתרב שבת נגמר דינו. Even if they say it later, even if they say, it wasn't Sunday, it was Monday. Right? It was later, chronologically it was later than what you say. You guys say the Gemardin, the Psak, the trial was on Sunday. It wasn't on Sunday. Sunday you were with us. You couldn't have seen that. It was really on Monday. Right? But by the time that the first Edim are testifying is already Tuesday and on. So by the time that the Edim, the first group of witnesses, said what they said, Reuben was Chayab Mita. He was already paskin, sealed to be killed. And therefore, even though that they're off on their day, and they lied through their teeth, and they fabricated an edut, still we don't kill them. Why? Because at the time that they stood in front of the Betin, they falsified the witnesses. And they said what they said, already Reuben was Chayab Mita. Reuben already had stood trial. He is a walking dead. Right? So says the Gemara. En elule ragin. We don't kill the first group of edim. De beidna, the kamesadi gavra bar ketalahu. Because at the moment that the first group of witnesses stood in the betin testifying falsely against Reuben, Reuben already was sealed to be killed. So therefore, they're not killing a living person. They're killing a person that's going to die anyways. And therefore, that's not edim zomemim. Kasher zamam la'asod la'achiv is when the guy that they're trying to kill is not already dead. Right? But if they're trying to kill to get someone killed which already has a psak din on him that he's going to get killed, that's like killing him a piece of meat. Therefore, we don't kill them. The same thing is with paying knas, right? What's the case? Listen to the case. We know there's a sugya of ganav tavach umachar. If a person steals an animal, right, and he goes and shechts it and makes shish kebab, and then you catch him, right? What's the halacha? He has to pay not just the principal, but he has to pay knas, a heavy knas. If he dalet vehei, right, tashlume dalet vehei, 4 or 5 times more, right? If he was a sheep that he stole, he has to pay 4, right? And if it was a cow, 5. That's why you have to pay 5 times more, because knas, it's a fine. We don't want people to be encouraged to steal, so we heavily fine them, and that's only if he can't return the object, the animal, because he already shechted it. He already killed it. So says the Gemara, what happens if a group of edim come and say Reuben stole from Shimon a sheep and he shechted it? ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Ubal Shnaim v'amru, Bechad b'Shabbat ha'imanu eitim. Says again, you cannot have seen it on Sunday because Sunday you were with us. Reuben stole a sheep from Shimon. We saw it, but it wasn't on Sunday. Sunday you were with us. He did it on Monday, and we saw it. So what happens? Meshalemin. They have to pay. Even if they say it was not on Monday, but it was on Friday, that means it wasn't what you saying on Sunday, but it was prior to what you say. So it turns out that Reuben already had stolen in actuality, right, on cameras. On Friday, so by the time that the first liars, the first group of Edim say, oh, we saw him on Sunday, he actually had stolen, right? Still, the first group of Edim who lied to say that he stole it on Sunday, they have to pay the Tashlumet Dalet Vehe to Reuben, right? We still punish them. Because the moment that they stood in Betin on the Tuesday, whatever it is, or on Thursday, and they said their testimony, Reuben was not chayav, was not paskind to have, he didn't have a gimardin, he didn't have a psak, he didn't have a verdict that he has to pay dalet vehei, the knas, to Shimon. He didn't have that. But says the Gemara, if the first group of witnesses, they come and say on Sunday, he stood trial. Now, instead of saying that he stole on Sunday, they say, we were in Los Angeles on Sunday, and we were part of the trial of Reuben being judged on having stolen, and the Betin paskin that he has to give Tashlume Dalet Veh, has to pay X amount of dollars. And the second group come and say, Sunday you could not have seen that because you were with us in Florida, not Los Angeles. And the truth is, it happened on Monday, or it happened on Friday, and we were there, that he became chayav. So now what happens in reality? I ask you, Reuben, did he steal from Shimon? Yes. Nobody's arguing with that. Everyone says he stole and he was found guilty, right? But the first group of Edim, what day did they stand in the Bedin in front of us and lied, a fabricated witness? Let's call it was Thursday, right? It was Thursday. And they're saying that the previous Sunday, 4 days ago, he stole. Right? The second group who proved them wrong, they say it was not Sunday, it was Monday. Right? But again, remember, the first group are standing on Thursday testifying. So by Thursday, right, was Reuben really chayav to pay money? Yes. Because according to everyone, by Monday, he already had stood trial and he was chayav. Pashut, right? So therefore, when they lied on Thursday, saying that he had stolen on Sunday, they are not actually creating a tashlumin. Reuben was chayav already. He already had a stamp of Betin on a verdict that he has to pay the X amount of money that he has to pay. So therefore, turns out that the Edim Zomemim, the first group, were not trying to create new payment that didn't exist. And hence, says the Gemara, in that case, we don't make them pay. But if the two came, I'm just reading what we explained now. If the first group says, on Sunday, he stood trial and he had a guilty verdict, and the second one says, oh, you can't have seen it on Sunday because since Sunday you were with us. And the truth is, the truth is on Friday he stole and we were there and saw it. And he stood trial and he had a guilty verdict. Or if they would say, the second group would say, on Monday the Gmar Din happened, and Meshalemin. The first group does not end up paying a penny, even though that they are Edim Zomemin, right? So you have over here a scenarios that Edim Zomemim who are proven to be Edim Zomemim, they don't pay a penny. Why? Because they have testified on a person that already had a verdict to pay or to get killed, right?
But he could have done it twice. He could have stolen a behemoth and shafted it, did it to one animal and did it to another animal. Wouldn't he have to pay, if a person actually did that, there were no Edim Zomemim, he'd have to pay kefil to
correct, but over here again, it can't be twice because the Sunday that they're claiming that it had happened, we have Edim Zomemin over there that it hasn't happened, right? But they say the same thing happened on Friday or on Monday. It's not that anybody claims that it happened twice, right? They say it happened once. It's just that when you stood in Betin to claim that this guy has to be killed, he already was with a psak. Reuben already was with a psak that he is chayav mita, and therefore these guys were not trying to get him killed. You can't kill a person more than once.
Correct, but a person could be...
For payment, you're asking. Yeah, again, they're not disagreeing that he stole twice from the same person. For instance, the case that they actually end up not paying is when they are testifying about a verdict in the Bedin. So they're disagreeing about a court case that happened, not two court cases, right? Did the court case happen on Sunday? Did it happen on Friday or Monday? Right? So says the Gemara, last line, 2 dots. This is the last piece of the Mishnah. Okay? So let's read this. Rabbi Yehuda, we had a machloket Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim. Let's refresh our minds that if you have, according to Rashi, not like Rabbi Hananel, that if you have a group of Edim that disqualifies many groups of Edim. In other words, the first group comes and says, Reuben killed Shimon. The second group comes and says, no, you were with us on Sunday. You could not have seen this. Then a third group comes and says, like the first one, it says, Reuben killed Shimon. They say, no, you also were with us. And then a third group comes and says, no, you also were with, everyone was with them, right? So Rabbi Yehuda said, come on. At some point, we raise our eyebrows and we say, it can't be. Like, they're lying. Right? And then Rabbi Yehuda said, so what's the halacha? We only kill the first group. Right? Based on this group that says, Imanu heitem, we only first kill the first group of Edim, not the third group and the fourth group and the fifth group, right? We don't kill the rest because we suspect already that they're lying, this Edim. So obvious question is, it's the elephant in the room. Why would you kill the first one? If you are suspecting this group that say Imanu heitem, that they're trying to make the first group Edim Zomemim, so then you shouldn't kill the first group either. What's the difference between the first group and the third group and the fourth group? They all are saying, we saw Reuben kill Shimon. And this group, these two Edim are saying, you were with us on Sunday, and you were with us on Sunday, and you were with us on Sunday. So how in the world are you killing the first group but not the third and the fourth? Doesn't make any sense. Right? So how in the world does Rabbi Yehuda say, you've killed the first one, but not the rest of them? So says the Gemara, if the suspicion is there on the group of Edim that came second and said you were with us, even the first group you should not be killing. So why are you killing anybody even? So says the Gemara, no. A very schwer answer. The Gemara gives a very dachuk, very difficult answer. It says no. We talk about the case that they already killed them, right? They already killed them. You're correct. If we didn't kill the first group of Edim, we don't kill them. We talk about the scenario in which we already killed them. Unfortunately, Nebach, right? Chaval. Gemara says, wait a second. My dava hava. Who cares about what has happened? If it already has happened, the Mishnah would not talk about it. If you agree that lechatchila we would not kill them if they're still alive, so why would we tell me a scenario that we made a mistake and killed them? So says the Gemara, that's not a viable answer. Ela amar Rava, haki amar. Rava says, this is what the Mishnah is saying. Im ena ela kat achad nehereget. That says a simple answer. What Rabbi Yehuda is saying is that we only believe the Edim Zomemim if there is one group of Edim against them. It's one against one, that's when we kill the first group. When the second comes and says, you were with us. But if there are already multiple groups of Edim that they claim the same thing, and this group says about all of them, you were with us, and you were with us, and you were with us, then we don't kill anybody. We only kill the first group if they're the only group. But if there are additional groups that they are saying, Imanu Heitem, we don't kill anyone. Gemara says, wait a second. That also is not a viable answer because of the language of the Gemara. Habilvat Kamar, says the Gemara, what's the language of the Mishnah? Rila says, we only kill the first group, Bilvad, only. When you say Bilvad, you are giving a very strong connotation that there are more than one group to be killed, but you only kill one of them, right? You only kill them. When I say, in English even, you only kill them means what? There are other ones that you may have thought we should kill, but we don't. We only kill them. So if you tell me there's only one group, the language of only killing them, it's not the right grammar. The Gemara says, you're right, correct, kasha. It's a question. It's not a tiyufta, it's not a bomb, like an unanswerable question, but okay, we hear it. Let's go through this just in a moment. There was a woman that brought a group of Edim in her support, and they turned out to be lying. We disproved them. She brought another group of Edim, and they also turned out to be proven liars. And she then brought a third group of Edim, right? Azla aitisadi acharini. We couldn't disprove the third group. Amar Resh Lakish said, we don't believe them. Even though that we can disprove them, but we don't believe her. Why? Because Huchsikazu, she now has a chazakah of a person that brings false testimony. She did it twice. It's chazakah. Like it's machloket, it's 2-3 times. Here is Resh Lakish says, twice, chazakah. You could bring the best, you could bring Chacham Obadiah, I'm not listening to you. Get out of the bedin, right? You were disproven twice, chazakah. So Amar le Rabbi Elazar was a chavruta of Rabbi Yochanan. They were both students of Rabbi Yochanan. Resh Lakish and Rabbi Elazar, they were the greatest students of Rabbi Yochanan. This actually becomes a story in Masechet Baba Mitzvah, there in Daf Pei Dalet, when Resh Lakish died, and Rabbi Yochanan was depressed. He was just walking, pacing the room, completely depressed. And Chachamim said, let's bring Rabbi Elazar. He was now Marad Arad Yisraeli. He was a tremendous leader. They brought him to Rabbi Yochanan to replace Resh Lakish, and they started learning together. And whatever Rabbi Yochanan would say, Rabbi Elazar would say, I found the proof for you from here, a raya from there. He would, bring rayas and proofs. And Rabbi Yochanan was so upset. He said, Efo bar Lakish. He says, where are you and where was Resh Lakish? You're not even comparable with Resh Lakish. Resh Lakish, whatever I said, he would ask 24 questions. I had to give 24 answers, and it would be geschmack. It would be clear. It would be clear and geschmack. You, everything I say, you say you're saying good. What? Don't I know that I'm saying good? If I'm saying it, I'm saying good. Right? I want you to ask me, challenge me. Right? That's the whole story of Rabbi Yochanan versus Resh Lakish and Rabbi Elazar. So this is Rabbi Elazar and Resh Lakish, the two top Talmidim speaking. And Rabbi Elazar tells him, Amar lo Rabbi Elazar, im hi huchzeka kol Yisrael mi huchzeku. He says you can't say that because, correct, the first group was liar, the second group, but every Jew has cheskat kashrut. Even if she is Rasha, But that doesn't mean that every Jew is Rasha. If you have a frum Jew that's a kasher ed and comes to Bedin and says, I saw that she's right, then they have cheskat kashrut. We don't deal with them as we would deal with the other liars, because they were proven liars. These were not. So therefore, Rabbi Azar said we do accept the third group of edim, right? Now this very much sounds like Machloket Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim that we just discussed, and the Gemara is going to actually bring this and try to hinge them together, which Be'ezrat Hashem we will discuss in the next year.